Sure. Hello all, welcome to Robinsive Training. It's a continued video for the course Advanced Network Exploitation Expert. Myself, Rikun Sindwad, and I will be your instructor for this entire journey. I hold over 5 years of experience in cybersecurity. I'm a red teamer at work. I also do security researcher and hold multiple CVs. Couple of articles are published over Pen Test Magazine, OSCP, OSW, and OSCP certified from Offensive Security. The course Advanced Network Exploitation Expert helps you to build core knowledge against network security and penetration testing. It is designed for everyone with the basic understanding for the cybersecurity domain, like basic networking and the basic pen testing things. An example would be anyone with the knowledge of CEH. Post completion of the course, you will able to gain core concept understanding over various topics, perform internal or external penetration testing, perform extensive network assessment, find security misconfiguration within Active Directory environment, able to do privilege escalation over Windows and Linux machines, write automation scripts, and many more to go. Please read the disclaimer before moving ahead with the course content. So in the last chapter or last video, we have seen how we can exploit command injection vulnerability with some test cases or scenarios, right? We have used this DVWA application, and in this DVWA, we also get aware with the different bypasses. Like if something is prevented, then how you can use the alternative or some tricks in order to bypass the same. Earlier than that, we got to know some source code understanding of how exactly this command injection works. Like we created our custom application that was in the PHP, and we understood each and every possibilities that can leads us to command injection. Just a command execution, to be honest. But yeah, command injection is just like a top of it. Despite that said, let's just move ahead with the next topic, that is extra miles. It's extra. It's not something that will gonna be really necessary, but yeah, if you understand this would be really beneficial for you. So what I have come up here, so in a different languages like Java or ASP, or I can say a Node.js, you must aware with the same type of execution, or what would be the possible cases. What is the victim function? Similar to this, there would be many other functions that can be utilized here apart from the one that is being used or that I'm gonna explain in a bit. So let's start with the first example of Java code. So here I have designed one of the Java code that will gonna be used for executing of OS command, and that can also used for command injection. So what I'm gonna do, I'll create new file. Let's name it as cmd_i.java. I'll paste that code and I'll get all the syntax highlighted and all the things, right? So as usual, in the Java, if you are aware with the basic programming structure, we'll start with the function that is main. Main is the very first function that will gonna be executed whenever the program loads up. So consider there is a web application that utilizes the victim function that will gonna be, of course, this entire code. Ping handler, that is the class, of course, here, perform a ping, correct? So what it's gonna do, it is gonna first take IP address. So assume that you give an IP address through a get parameter, and IP address would be anything. Here I have given 8.8.8.8. If you want to give something other than that, or let's say command injection, just you need to add whatever the character that will gonna divide your current code and add the additional one. For an example, who am I? Correct. Now what's next will gonna happen? It will gonna do store result of a particular function that is perform ping, and perform ping is taking this particular IP address with it. Now let's understand this perform ping. Here, what it has done, so first it has just a string builder, nothing it's just a simple, it will gonna just create a variable that will gonna be a result, and that will gonna have all the lists, all the all the formatted, I can say string, format a string or a paragraph or something. Then it will gonna go with the try and error block. It's just a common thing that will gonna be used for the Java code. Whenever you need to create any programmatic code, you need to use try and catch. If you have any error, this will gonna pop up with some sort of response saying that, hey, something got wrong, you need to modify your input or code, something is wrong, right? So this is just a best practice that I got here. First, what you're gonna do, get the operating system name. Based on operating system name, this OS name will gonna store whatever is the response. For an example, it will gonna return with the Win. For the Windows OS, it will gonna return with the Lin. For the Linux, right? Here it just checks for Win. If it contains Win, then it will gonna be using this particular command, and the ping command will gonna be ping -n4, and whatever I have supplied with the particular variable that was here, IP address, is stored in this particular insert point, that is IP, and IP is straight away appended here. Same way, it will gonna be for the Linux, it will gonna be using -c instead of -n for the 4 counts of ping request. Then it will gonna do, it will gonna just use a particular function from the runtime get runtime.exec. That function is responsible to execute any OS command, and of course, particular Java programming. And whatever the result is, it will gonna be stored in the process, and this reader will gonna be reading that entire response. And here you'll find that it'll gonna read it line by line, and just whatever the result is, it will gonna be returned straight away here. Of course, you can spend more time understand each structure. I have added a comment as well, so it will be easier. But just for a time saving, I'm gonna quickly go ahead with the different languages, but it's straightforward. It gets the input, it uses particular function that is from the runtime.get runtime.exec. Eventually, this exec is the main function here. So other than exec, there would be more. Try understand or try explore various ways to execute your OS command. This will gonna really add additional skill set in your, of course, in your skills. All right. Despite that said, let's move ahead with the next language, that is Node.js. Of course, the code would be identical. So I'm gonna create another one. Let's name it as cmd_i.js. And here we go. Node.js executes on a server side. It's pretty good for the web application that wants the maximum performance on their user interfaces, user experience term. So yeah, that's why this mostly used. So what here it's doing, so there's no something I would say there won't be anything like main function. It will just gonna go with the whatever supplied value I have given. Let's start with the particular function that is server listen on a particular port, and that port will be 3000. So this server will be running a web application or web server on a particular port that is 300 on top of Node. So if you have Node installed, just go Node and this particular file. This would be pretty much good for running. Then after moving towards this, let's start with the first line. By just this code, we can understand. All right, my code will gonna be running web server on a particular port that is 300. Now let's understand this line by line. So first, what we're gonna do, it has created one constant that's exec that is gonna require child process. It's all like including different functions from different libraries. So similarly, the different one, the second one is HTTP, the third one is URL. The server constant will gonna be creating HTTP server through the library that is loaded here. And what we're gonna do, it's gonna be some sort of request, some sort of response, and it's just have a default structure. Now what we're gonna do, the query will gonna parse the entire query that is being sent to this particular code. And there is another one, IP address, that is query.ip address. It will gonna get the whatever the parameter you specify. of not the whatever parameter, it will be IP parameter, and the value of it that will gonna be stored in this particular IP address. After moving it, what we're gonna do, it will gonna execute a particular function that is IP address, and whatever the result, it will gonna be saved inside this particular variable that is ping result. Now what this function will gonna do, it will gonna first create a constant OS type. It will gonna get the operating system information. If OS type is Windows, then it will gonna be IP address, basically whatever I supplied here, that will gonna be appended straight away here. And if I scroll down, the result would be saved in the standard out. Whatever, it will gonna execute that particular code, and the ping command would be here, of course, appended, and whatever is output, that will gonna be return, and the return value would be the ping result, and the output would be something as shown here. It will gonna be ping result for the particular IP address with the new line character and ping result. So this will gonna be saving all the callbacks or the standard output, and standard output is being used here, right? So yeah, that's something small and little brief against command injection in Node.js. You can also find some more. So the third example here that I would like to highlight is the ASPX. So what I'm gonna do, creating new file, cmd underscore I dot ASPX. All right, ASPX here, it uses .NET code. If you want to use that VB, yeah, you can use the VB as well. The file would be ASPX, saved as ASPX and running on IIS server on top of the .NET. So that is necessary in order to run this code. And this would be specifically for the Windows environment. It's not designed for Linux at all. This particular code, I mean. And let's get started. So here some sort of import and namespace thing. And the script tag tells that this would be executed somewhere. Of course, this code, server-side code, so it has mentioned that the code would be C# and run at server. This code would be running at the server end. Now, again, it will gonna be having some sort of functions. So there are three functions. First is page load, second one is execute cmd, and the third one is cmd exec click. So this exec click will gonna be executed whenever this particular function, whenever this particular form has been clicked. As soon as you click this one, this button, this function would be executed. And what it'll gonna do, it will gonna write the response that is just a pre-tag. And again, this will gonna write something, and this write contains a different reference. The reference says, hey, I want this to be written as server.html encode. That is another function that will gonna encode the response in HTML encoding, type of encoding you can understand for now. And it will gonna execute a particular function that is execute cmd, and that contains text argument.text. So whatever text argument is being mentioned here, so if I just copy and paste, here we go, here, text argument. It does contains the text, whatever the text it is, it will gonna be passed it here. So for an example, if you supplied anything, this will gonna be passed, whatever the IP address basically. And yeah, now this will gonna be executing through execute cmd function. Let's understand what exactly it is doing. So first, it's just creating a process initiation. It's just a common way to execute any of the OS command. psi.file name, through which program you want your programs to be or your software or command to be executed. So here cmd.exe, this could be PowerShell.exe as well. Any other argument that you wish to supply. So if you don't want this -c, if you are using PowerShell, then just go with this argument or arg, that is what you supply, right? So the next, it says redirect standard input to the output. That means if there is something output in return, if you execute this program, it returns some output, then you want that to be redirected. I said yes. Use shell execute. I just wanted to tell, hey, don't use your default shell that is cmd. I want my different program that I have specified here, that's to be executed, and not through any of the cmd.exe or something like a child process. So for that, just added this particular code. Next, process.p variable, just type, and the p is a parameter or variable, I would say. Process.start, it will gonna start this particular process, and now this p will gonna have all the details related to this particular process. What it's gonna do, it will gonna read p.standard input, standard output, and saved it into this particular variable, and this will gonna be returned through, it will gonna be saved in the s read to end. It will gonna read entire code, and then s would be returned as a return value, and whatever is returned, and that will gonna be here. For an example, this would be just s, and now s would be under the server.html and code function. Now consider this would be something like anything. It would be, let's say, output of who am I, for an example, r0p or Robin Siv. It could be anything, right? The response would be whatever you supply. So instead of supplying that 8.8.8.8, if I supply anything here as with some comma, not the comma, it will be semicolon or the pipe, or I can use and twice or one time, anything would be working, right? We know the command injection concept, and yeah, it was just to give you an awareness in different languages, understand how it structures, how you can explore other things apart from what I have shown earlier. So yeah, you feel free to explore more, go to chat gpt or something similar, try to find more examples, try to find some alternative of using this process start info. If there is any other function that can execute your code, start exploring it. This will give you much exposure to this particular web application concept. So yeah, that's all I have planned for today. That's it, that's all. See you next time.